Hello and welcome to another Blender tutorial brought by Lewis Art. My name is Emmanuel Okafo and I hope you guys are doing well. In this tutorial, which is one I'm quite excited about because this is something Blender has always lacked, and I think by the end of this tutorial you will feel very hopeful, and it's just a very fun process and very informative. So let's get started. I have in my scene this nice model. I don't know about nice, but it's our model for today, and we can see just a simple animation. Right now it looks like nothing, but when you hear of how I made this up, you'll be really impressed by it. Okay, so this eyelash which I created was basically from curves. Everything was generated from curve, and you have there's no rules, nothing that really guides you. You just can set it up automatically, and this opens so much creative avenue. That's why I'm very excited. Okay, so let's get started and I'll show you how this works. So my goal with this tutorial is to show you guys how you can quickly set up a nice eyebrows and also the eyelash. I hope I'm saying it well. Okay, so let's get started. Let's start with the eyebrow. So I will go ahead and import a reference image. So I'm doing that with Shift A, and let's go to image, reference, and eyebrows. Okay, so this is one image I got from Google, and I plan to add this to my own personal workflow because I think it's very awesome. So we're just going to go ahead and add a simple Bezier curve. Okay, so I'm going to select everything by hitting A. You know what, I'm just going to turn on my screencast key so you guys can follow along. I hope it works. It doesn't work. I'm using the Blender 3.4 version, so maybe that has something to do with it. But anyways, so if you press V and set this to automatic, I just prefer working with the automatic handle type, just so I could just easily create things. Okay, but what we'll be needing is if we press T and get the draw brush, draw curve. I think this is the one. So basically now we just want to draw this eyebrows. Okay, so we'll just kind of trace through it. You could choose to be like 100% accurate with it, or choose not to. It doesn't really matter per se. So I will pause the video and come back once I'm done. Okay, so I'm almost done now. I just wanted to state one rule that you should bear in mind. It's not really a rule, it's just kind of something that will definitely make everything more predictable. So when you want to draw, your first stroke should start from the bottom of every hair which you're drawing. So if I want to draw this one, I will start from that's the root of the hair. I will always start drawing from the root, so it'll be easy later when I try to do select last or select first. I know I'm selecting the points which I want to do select. Okay, just that's one thing you can bear in mind. So I think I'm done, and this is what we have currently. Maybe I could add some. Doesn't have to be 100% full, because generally you don't want to kind of create all your guide hair to look as dense as the final render, because you can use children particles to kind of populate it, which is the more ideal way to go about things. So I'm happy with this, and yeah, the next step now is to transfer this onto the character. So how we're going to do that, so let me show you. I would select the object and make sure you do set origin to geometry, which is what I did earlier, and then we do Shift S, set cursor. But if you press Shift S, you'll have the spine menu. So we want to do cursor to selected. Okay, so we place the cursor there, and then we can do mesh and add a plane. So rotate it on the x-axis 90 degrees and just scale it up to cover the entire eyebrow. Okay, and then we go inside and subdivide it just enough. You could go crazy with it, it doesn't really matter because we'll be deleting it in a bit. Just enough so that we can use it to wrap this eyebrows onto this character, and then once we're done we can now delete it. Okay, so this is what we have currently, and now we can select the eyebrows, go into the modifier tab and look for mesh deform. So it's not here, so we need to make this into a mesh. So we go to object, convert to mesh, and then we can do surface deform, select the plane and hit bind. So 99% of the time it should work as expected. So now if I scale this plane in edit mode, so it's important you scale it out in object mode and move it around in object mode, it's not going to work. That's because what's actually going to deform this eyebrows are the vertices. So if any changes you want to make, it's going to be done in edit mode. Okay, so now we'll just move this plane to fit it in the eyebrows. One thing you could do is to select the eyebrows and go to visibility and just check in front. Okay, viewport and set in front, so we could always see through it. So you just want to place it where you think is appropriate. Okay, and now we'll go to the snapping feature and make sure you have all of this enabled, because I think since the recent update we have more options for the snapping features, and sometimes when you try to snap things it does not behave or even seem to be working. So enable all of this kind of helps. So once we enable all of that, we don't even need to click on the snap. We just need to hold down Control and click, Control G and just click, and it's going to snap this geometry onto the head of the character, which is what we want. And now we can just select this and do convert to curve, and we can go ahead and delete this mesh. So we've practically placed the brows in the right place, and you can even go ahead and mirror this. Okay, so let's try to scale this down slightly. So you can just adjust this. It's very one way to work. It might lose its conformity to the head, but as long as you don't do it crazy so much, then you're fine. We could probably even try the shrink wrap for situations like this, and so that's fix that. Okay, so once we're done, we'll convert it to a mesh again. The conversion is just basically a quick way for me to apply the modifiers. Since I don't think you can apply modifiers with curve. Yeah, so you cannot. So it's you have to convert it to a mesh, and then you've applied it, and then we can convert it back to a curve. Okay, so for the final shop and shone to make this into a hair, you will need an add-on. The add-on is priced at $100. I'm kidding, guys. For that, you just need to go to convert curves. So you need to be converting it from curve to the new geometry hair curve. So once you click on that, this is where it's indicated, the curve. You see it has this hair icon. Okay, so once we do that, we can see this is in curve now, and we can access all the drawing tools. So that's all you need to do. But we want it to deform with the character, because that's the most important point. If not, it kind of defeats the whole purpose. Okay, purpose. So to do that, it's quite easy too. So you just select the brows, shift select the character, and press Ctrl P, and you can see the usual guys we have here, the object, keep transform, but you want to select so object, attach curve to surface. So this is where the magic happens. So once you do that, yeah, you're all set. It's going to go ahead and create the geometry node for you. I mean, it does that initially, but then it's going to add this deform curve on surface for you, and basically set up this UV mapping and surface UV coordinate. So it's going to copy the UV coordinate of the projected surface area. And yeah, that's basically it. And now you can animate your eyebrows. So another keynote, I will show you something right now. If I go in and let's go into sculpt mode and try to move this, we can see the eyebrows are not moving. So this is something you might encounter, but it works mainly only, or at least works as expected, when you have shape keys enabled. And once you do that, you can see it's working as expected. And How awesome is this? So this is really cool. Hello. Okay, so if we're practically done, if you want to stay for the rest of the tutorial where we'll be covering the eyelash, it's kind of the same workflow, but of course I'll be showing you my technique of quickly generating the eyebrows, and also we'll be looking at how we can actually populate the children hair and fill this up. Okay, so if you're down for that, let's keep going. So as at this point, if you want to subscribe to the channel, if you want to see more from me, please do that. And if you wish to, if you're enjoying this video so far, please hit the like button and comment your excitement in the comments, or just any random stuff is appreciated. Okay, for the eyebrows, what we'll do right now is to select the areas where we want the eyebrows to extrude from. So we just select this loop. If you hold down Alt and click, you can select a loop. So let's do this. So we can Shift D this and make it its own mesh by hitting P. So I'm going to remove all the shape keys. Then we'll probably have to do this again. Okay, so let's isolate this. We want, of course, we don't want the eyebrows generating from the end corners, so we'll just delete that. And we'll select one of each and make it its own separate object. So we have top eyebrows and bottom, sorry, eyelash, I keep saying eyebrows. Okay, so let's basically generate curves that will go along this. So for that, I'm going to add a simple curve, Bezier curve, one more time, and we'll delete it, and this time we'll just use the drop tool. If you want to use reference to kind of make sure you're close to what you're trying to get, it's ideal too. But what we want to do now is to create some instances of the eyelash. So we want to create different variations basically, so we can have some that are a bit clumped together. So the more instances you have, the more random it will look. So you just want to draw them out. If you want to have more clumps, then you can just draw them out. Okay, so this is what I have currently, and now I can get the selection pen and select all of this. If you hit shifts, so S, the scale, X, the X key, or better still, let's do it more for beginners. If we get the scale brush, scale tool, we can just drag this Z axis so it gets to 0. So we kind of scale it on the Z axis. So this is what we have currently, and where we're at 8, I will do Shift S, cursor to selected, and origin, set origin to 3D cursor. So if we rotate this, it's rotated from there, and we also have our cursor there. It's not even really important per se, but okay. So now for this top and lower one, what we do is we want to convert them into curves. Okay, so now we can select everything and press Ctrl A, apply the rotation and scale. This is just so that everything is centered to 0. I will show you what that does. We go to item and look at the dimensions. Currently we have random dimension, so ideally you want this to be set to a default number. So if we do Ctrl A, I'm sorry, I don't know if let's see. Let me do a better example why that's necessary. So like if I scale this object randomly, ideally we want this to be zeroed out. So if we do apply rotation and scale, it zeroes this out, so it helps Blender calculate more accurately when deforming objects, and yeah, even in simulation and stuff like that. So let's do that one more time, and also do set origin to geometry. So for the next part, we need a specific add-on that comes with Blender. So that add-on is called copy attributes. So this is the one. So it allows you, when you press Ctrl C, you have more options to copy from. Okay, so now we'll select this and shift select this. So we select this first, Shift select this and press Ctrl C. So we want to copy the location. So this object will copy the location of this curve. We want to even copy rotation and scale. Don't worry, we can scale this down. So while we're at it, we can press Ctrl P, and we want to do curve the thumb. Okay, so we have it on top of the curve, and the reason why initially I had the origin point at the bottom of the curve was so I could scale it up easily like this. So I'll move this on the x-axis. It's just a matter of kind of tweaking it to match what you're going for and the scale of your character's lashes. We can also add an array modifier and move it on top of the curve and add more counts to it. So we can see the rotation is a bit wrong, so we need to fix that. So we select the parent curve, go into edit mode and press Ctrl T. So it's a matter of tilting it. So Ctrl T, or you could go to tilt and just tilt it till it feels natural. Okay, and then let's say we want more curve to the lashes, the lower lashes. We can just disable all of this for now and select what we want and just rotate it by pressing R. So you can just rotate it slightly, just give it some curve. We can also subdivide the curve and move this somewhat like this so we can get more like bend onto it. Yeah, so now we have something looking more like this. So we're basically going to replicate the same thing. I'm going to duplicate this curve and delete all the modifiers which we just created, and let's select the top one like this for now. Ctrl P. Let's do the copy location first. Copy location, copy rotation, copy scale. Ctrl P, curve the form. Okay, so we have an interesting issue here. So basically all you need to do in a situation like this is rotate Z 180. So it's just gonna flip it. And oh, okay, so I mean we were good, but at least now you learned how to flip it if you want to. So it's just a matter of scaling this down to match. Then we can move the x-axis. So like we did earlier, we can tilt this to fit appropriately, and we can just add the array modifier above the curve, and we have this. So let's say you want kind of like an anime style stuff where and or maybe that's just a very fashionable lady and she wants the long eyelash. You could do that. You could control where it gets the scale. So we select this point and hit Alt S, so we can scale specific locations and even tilt them to have more control of how they look overall. So this is all we have right now, and once we're happy, like we did earlier, we can convert them to curve, or better still mesh, and just join it as one object, and we can mirror and then convert it back to a curve. Okay, so once you're done, we can go again, convert to hair curve, Ctrl P, attach on surface. So sometimes you might get this issue where some curves kind of behave like this. So yeah, we could try to fix them, but it's a bit tricky. I don't really know the reason for it, but it will tell you we have invalid surface UVs on two curves. So you might just go in and delete those two curves. So it tells you have on one now. And then for areas where we seem to have missed, we can just use the interpolate brush and copy to just quickly fill out those missing sections. Okay, once that didn't look good, and yeah, that's it. So like we did earlier, you have to use the shape key and to get the right result. So just hide the bottom. Let's create a simple blink. Okay. And voila. So we have it working as expected. And for the final one, tutorial is actually getting us longer than expected, but yeah. Let's populate this. For population, we can use geometry node as expected, and we just need to go to geometry, duplicate elements, and want to set this to spline. Okay, for the amount we can set this to 5. So right now we see nothing happening, and then we need to use the set position node so that we can offset each position. But before we do that, we need to I went in my previous video, I went more in depth into all of this. I was going to take it more slowly, but it's going to take more time to just explain it. So you can watch the video before this. It's going to explain how this comes into fruition, how it works basically. So I'm going to use a copy attribute node to copy informations here, and let's add a random value, set it to vector. The attribute goes here. If I'm in the right one, okay. And then yeah, we need a random value. No. Okay, we're good. I'm going to add a math node. You could basically just copy what I'm doing, take a screenshot of it. No one knows really what is going on with geometry. It's just cool, and you see cool results with it. Yeah, so we should be able to spline. Yeah, we should be able to scatter it. I'm going to set this to 1. So basically creating children instance, you can add more particles, not particles but instances. Another cool thing we can add is like a simple clump. For that we'll use a vector math, set this to scale, and then we'll need a curve parameter and use this as a factor with a controller. Okay, so we can now control the clump of the head basically, and we can flip it if we choose to. Okay, so yeah, that's one way to quickly set up your eyebrows. And for the final shape function, we can quickly, I mean, we could do more things here, but like noise, but for now let's just end with setting the curve radius. Okay, so let's call this L1, and we'll tell this to use that particular system. Let's make an instance of that. So this to 1. Okay. I think we're done. Yeah, so that's one nice way to quickly create eyebrows. I'm sure in the future, like, more tools will be made for artists, because currently this just feels very technical, and I wish it would be less technical, but probably that would be for the future. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found this helpful, please let me know in the comments. If you wish to see more from me, please hit the subscribe button. Okay, so bye bye for now, and see you next time.